Okay, I just set my alarm. I'm going to come in hot here, guys, because we have just seen a dramatic increase in views to this, hashtag Patrick Lovell on TikTok. And literally, we got 200,000 in less than a month. Then we got an additional 100,000 in a day. We've got an additional 47,000 since last night, early morning. And, I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 400,000 by the end of the day. Look, if I can just get 10% of you to please do me this favor. I need you to record this message or share this message, and let's tag Jon Stewart. And I'll tell you why. I've got a message to Jon Stewart. First of all, Jon Stewart has really been on fire lately. He has been interviewing really all the right people. He has gone after Gary Gensler, who's the head of the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. He talked recently to Jamie Dimon, the CEO of Chase. He's talked to some folks from the Federal Reserve, and then most recently, he's talked to Stephanie Kelton and Rohan Gray from MMT. He's trying to put the pieces together, and the thing that is most important to Jon Stewart, is I can tell, reading between the lines, and none of these guys are answering him, is he's trying to understand corruption. Let me give you a pop cultural reference, and I was trying to think about this right before I pushed play. But could you imagine, asking, Tommy Lee and Pamela, what it's like to kiss on camera? That would be the equivalent of going to somebody who's got enough, who knows as much as somebody like Gary Gensler or the folks at the Fed or, Stephanie Kelton and Rohan Gray. And of course, at least but not least, who was the one I just mentioned? But I think Jamie freaking Dimon, a guy who's a 5-time recidivist at Chase that's created the largest criminal organization literally in the history of the world, as I can see, because it's covered by the United States government. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. We got to hashtag Jon Stewart because, John, you just asked Gary Gensler, what about fraud? And he told you small pieces of what's in the con. He alluded to it, but you don't understand how the system is supposed to work. Look, my name is Patrick Lovell. I went on this literal 13-year odyssey as a result of the 2008 great financial crisis. I've been a producer for decades. And then the long and the short of it is, I went through the housing collapse like so many others did. At last count, it was like 16 million filed foreclosures affecting 50 million people, and that was by 2012. All of it was illegal. It was illegal in the ramp up between what we call liar's loans on the front end, all the way through the securitization process through derivatives known as illegal reps and warranties. I've got every single answer, but the way I was able to find it was by basically piecemealing what a lot of great journalists were already doing, but they weren't getting the full story, and I could tell, and there was a complete picture, and ultimately it was up to the DOJ and the SEC and the FBI to put it all together, and they didn't. And you're asking the right questions, but there's a formula, and the formula was presented to me by the best criminologist, the Michael Jordan of criminology and white-collar fraud, by the name of William K. Black. This guy put 30,000 criminal referrals together and over 1,000 executives in prison based on the SNL crisis that was 1/180th the size of the 2008 great financial crisis. So in a course of like literally a month, we're nearly up to, we're 350,000 views as of this actual recording. And I need 10% of you, maybe by the end of this day or tomorrow, please hashtag Jon Stewart and tell him Patrick Lovell has the answers he's looking for. Now, I'll go back to his gatekeepers. His gatekeepers aren't talking to me. Guys, I'm a producer. I've been in this business forever. I used to work for some of the biggest guys at Warner Brothers and Paramount. I know how to operate behind the scenes. I actually work with Johnny Depp's top director of development, but they're all under the gun of the same system that I'm trying to expose, which is finance. Look, I was driving around this morning and I was dropping off my kid off at school, and I wanted to kind of bring this in the conversation, and then I'll finish it up. Look, all of us have to go to a job to survive, to provide for a family. Whether you're a teacher, maybe you work at one of these box stores, Walmart, or any number of Costco, that sort of thing. And maybe you become a doctor, maybe you become an accountant. Everything is dependent on your level of education. Most of us, unless we come from relatively wealthy families, have to somehow finance that education to get to a place, to get the kind of income that can then put you up at a higher strata. Everybody is busy surviving, doing what they have to do. But everything that happens in the United States literally comes from the flow, which the blood flow of the economy, if you think of it as a body, is capital. And so capital is supposed to be out there, and if you're responsible and you have good underwriting, you find out who the people who are good credit risk, you put them into the right category, they get X amount of interest rates, and then they go through the process, they pay back what they have to, and if they pay back their loans on their house, their student loans and everything else, they move up society. And if you can move up in society without debt, then you can actually have excess money that goes into capital markets and investment in bonds and stocks and whatever else you might be interested in, based on hopefully you getting the right information. But at the end, literally, think about this. You go through your career, you do something responsible, you've achieved so much in your life, and then you can put in this pipeline where you're actually trusting money managers to invest your hard-earned capital to be able to be lent out and be a part of the system, but they're setting you up to fail. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They've done that, and they've done it over and over and over since really the late 90s, okay? And this is all part and parcel to what we call deregulation, desupervision, and decriminalization. We've made it such that those above the line aren't accountable. And this is what Jon Stewart is looking for, and he's asking why. And I've got the answers. Patrick Lovell has got the answers. It goes back, John, to what happened after the Great Depression. We had this investigation led by a guy by the name of Ferdinand Pecora, a Sicilian immigrant who basically got put into a position to do a deep dive investigation into what was happening on Wall Street. Actually, they tried to kind of hedge it, if you want to know the truth. But he was so good, he found the facts, and that we were going through the Great Depression. There was so much misery, there was so much pain and suffering that the media was paying attention to what Pecora was finding. And he was so good at what he did as a prosecutor, not unlike these bipartisan committees that happen in the aftermath of major tragedies, like, for example, 9/11 with the 9/11 Commission report, which is quite frankly a crock. Same with the FCIC, the Federal Crisis Inquiry Commission, after the 2008 Great Financial Crisis. My team had to go pick up the pieces and do what the New York Times, the FBI, the DOJ, Chicago Tribune, I say this all the time, but it's the truth. It's the mother lode of what you're looking for. So look, one way or the other, I'm going directly to the people with these truths. Hopefully I live long enough to see the day where tens of millions of us who got set up and got destroyed by the system come together with the facts to be able to overrun the system and the madness. Because I want so desperately to have millions of people look at Elizabeth Warren and Donald Trump and say, you're both full of it. Same with Barack Obama, same with Nancy Pelosi, same with Chuck Schumer, same with, all of them. But the Republican Party writ large, my God, they don't even hide it. But the ones on the Democratic side pretend like they're going to talk about these, the democracy and, all of these platitudes that are like freedom and liberty and just bullshit. What they've done is they've sold us down the river with the biggest criminal conspiracy and cover-up in history that never stopped. It is our system, and there's a way it works, and it's on display, first base, second base, third base, home freaking run in the con, and believe it or not, there's more. I've got so much more, it's crazy, and I sound like a raving lunatic because you would too if you knew what I knew, especially if you had your life destroyed by it. So please, I'm begging you, if we had 10% of the views that I've gotten on this TikTok page, and it translates to Patrick Lovell Truth Bombs the Con on YouTube, and people start to share this and hashtag Jon Stewart, and 10% of us come together right now, that'd be like 35,000 people that were hashtagging Jon Stewart, so he couldn't ignore it, and it would overcome his gatekeepers who were preventing him from knowing the truth. Maybe there's a methodology here that I don't understand. Maybe it's Jon Stewart going like, look, you know what? I'm going to ask some really bright questions. Important people, and I'm going to expect them to tell me the truth, quite frankly, that have been there throughout this whole thing that actually covered this up. Again, I'm going to bring it back to, like, imagine if you went to Motley Crue and you asked them a question about what it's like to smoke pot, given what you know about what they did with their freaking lives and drug use. Honestly, that's how ridiculous it is. John, you are so on the money. You've got a huge audience. Your heart, I swear to God, seems golden to me. I don't think you're being this guy that's like a useful idiot in this whole process. But God darn it, I've got the answers you're looking for and then some, man. I can tie this whole thing together for you. And if you had this information, you'd be absolutely shocked and horrified because you've been in the trenches for the last 13 years asking these questions and you still haven't gotten it right. Not because you don't. It's because of what I had to do to go through this, honestly. And there's really one name that you need to know at the apex of this, and that's William K. Black. And then besides that, we put together the new Untouchables. I'm telling you, John, to finish this, listen, man, what you're asking is, why isn't it RICO? Why isn't this the mob? Because it is. Well, okay, if that's the case, why didn't the Department of Justice put it together? That's exactly what we show in the con. And guess what, John? I found the only RICO conviction in the country after a tragic death of an African-American woman who was targeted in a legal foreclosure because she was set up with documentation fabrication that basically led to her having to shoot herself 5 times in the chest, 4 times in the chest. There was another stray bullet, but she died shortly thereafter. But through her tragedy, she opened up this incredible, and it was like God-driven. She opened up this revelation where we pulled the strings, and we found the Summit County Task Force led by then AG Mark Dan, who got the only RICO conviction in the country for a small level player who did exactly what Wall Street was doing. So it's on display in the con. Why it should have been RICO the whole time, and why it to this day should still be RICO. It's what undergirds everything. The whole system is a criminal racket because the Federal Reserve is backstopping the criminal enterprise that is sawdust securities that are through the pipeline of what we call the con, and there's more. There's always more, and I just went past my 10 minutes, so I'm going to just leave it at that. Guys, please help. Hashtag Jon Stewart, hashtag Patrick Lovell, hashtag the con, and God damn, we got a shot here, people. Let's come together. We got to purge corruption. Hashtag the resurrection. Onwards and upwards.